also known as the Jim McCarthy Voiceovers World Headquarters Studio. This is the JMVO Weekly Primer. Please subscribe, rate, and comment via jimmccarthyvoiceovers.com/podcast. This is episode 24 of the JMVO Weekly Primer. The JMVO Weekly Primer is about making your life better through marinating your mind in good stuff. My name is Jim McCarthy, owner, operator, and chief bottle washer at jimmccarthyvoiceovers.com. I believe that as business owners, entrepreneurs, and overall salespeople, we are bombarded by negativity every day, and it's the last thing we need. If you want to see your life and business change for the better, start consuming nurturing, good stuff. And today I'm very excited to have this guest on with me. I've known him for quite some time now. In an age where we are bombarded by people who want to coach you, who want to be a mentor, who want to do all these things with you in your business, it's tough to discern who really has the equity and who really is spouting not nonsense, but are they speaking from experience or are they taking things from other people who have done things in business? My guest today is certainly not that person. He has, I want to say, about 30 some odd years experience building and failing at business. So that's a big part of it. He's built about 4 different businesses. He's currently in another business as well, building up another element of his life and professional life. Please welcome to the JMVO Weekly Primer, episode 24, Coach Bill Maddox. Thanks for being with me today, sir.
Thank you, Jimbo. Always a pleasure to be with you, man.
Right on, brother. And I put out the preface of this particular podcast, this episode of, so you want to be an entrepreneur, eh? And we talked the other day.
Dear God, do you really?
I know.
Come on, man.
It's very popular right now. In this
it's sexy.
Day and age.
Right now, it's sexy, man.
It is so cool to be an entrepreneur these days.
Yeah. It's not so sexy at 2 o'clock in the morning, brother. Right?
Exactly. And, we've got something going on right now. As you well know, I own Big Dot Lighting with a great friend of mine and business partner, Tim Cooper.
Good dude.
There's a good chance I may have to go out tonight and strap on a tool belt, man. That's a reality, and kind of work
that's
a portion.
That's the reality.
And
Jim, that's the not sexy part, man.
Yeah.
That's the part you don't see on the promos. That's the part you don't see on stage. That's the part you don't see when these guys, and they're all good in their own right, but they're just espousing all this success, and it's very attractive. Mm-hmm. Man, it's super attractive, but the reality is, man, sometimes you got to do things that, man, it's below you, but you know what? You're an entrepreneur, you're a dishwasher. That's the deal.
Yeah.
Right?
So you got to wear a lot of hats.
You got to wear a lot of hats.
We talked the other day about how, in the beginning of my entrepreneurial journey, and I'm not trying to be an expert in any sense of the word, I'm just living it, trying to figure it out, but I've always had an entrepreneurial part of me. But I've always worked for somebody else, for somebody else up until about 2016. Then I stepped out on my own. I had enough and started doing my own thing. But not a small shift, but I think it's one of the massive shifts I made was feeding my head good stuff. Immersing my mind in positive thinking. So I started listening.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
You start listening to Cardone, changes everything. So, it's interesting you said that because as a coach, man, I coach a lot of people. And one of the very first things I have to do, no matter what they want, if they want to drive revenue, they want to scale their business, it doesn't matter. We've got to work on mind shift. Because we all come into this entrepreneurial desire, dream, ambition, but we're all playing the same records we played when we were employees, right? Mm-hmm. So now the biggest challenge is you're no longer an employee. Now you're doing it all, and you're responsible not only for yourself and building out your business, but you're responsible now for other people possibly, or you will be. So the big shift, man, it's the mind shift, man. It is that ability to think bigger and think, just think 3, 4, 5 steps ahead. It's a mind shift. You're exactly right.
For me, it was saying yes to everything that came along because I had to. Because to me, each opportunity I was thinking, well, there's my mortgage, there's my insurance payment, there's the car payment, whatever. That's how you had to think in the beginning. And a lot of people, I love it when they're told, well, you can't say yes to everything. I'm like, oh yeah, when you got a mortgage, you got your back against the wall, you have to.
Well, in the beginning, it is a part of it. In the beginning, you absolutely say yes to it. If you scale it right, if you have the right strategy, you're going to move yourself to a place, and this is what I try to coach, where you're not saying yes to everything. Yeah. But in the beginning, brother, you got to pay bills. I mean, that's the reality. That's the not sexy part, right? Mm-hmm. The sexy part is the lambs, the sexy part's the big houses, the girls, all that stuff. Hey, come on, man. We all got that, right?
Selfies in front of Lambos, man.
Yeah, that's it, man. Yeah. Until the guy comes out and says, get away from my car, get away from my car. And I'm running, I'm not that big. I'm running.
One of the clients we have for Big Dot is an exotic car dealership. And he says, you wouldn't believe the phone calls I get from guys who want to just come by and take pictures in front of the cars.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
And put on a veneer. That's all they want to do.
Yeah. Well, it is a veneer, and here's the reality. Our market is blowing up. America, the world, man, it's insane what's happening. There's so much money everywhere. That's going to change. We know that's going to change. It's reciprocal. It's going to change. There's going to be a downturn. And here's the challenge. And this, I'm sure I didn't come up with this, but here's the challenge. At some point, these folks that are standing, snapping pictures in front of Lamborghinis and going to the nice, all that, they're going to be washing dishes somewhere. Mm-hmm. There's going to be a reality check because it's all surface. There's no depth, man. And really, the depth comes from the time, from the failure. You said I had a couple of failures. I've grown 7 businesses. I've lost 2, bankruptcy twice. Mm-hmm. One was a $4.5 million real estate company, huge. Now I built quite a bit of that back, but the challenge is, man, I learned more, Jimbo. I learned more during that time than I could have ever learned continuing to have the success that I've had as a real estate investor, as a business owner. It's those things that experience hopefully prevents you from washing dishes later when you're snapping pictures now. Just don't snap the pictures, man. Come on.
Well, a lot of it has to be, self-awareness of what is it you're really getting yourself into when you have so many people saying, well, hey, you're basically looking at, you're so good at what you do. You should do this for yourself. Why work for somebody else? And if you read like a book like the E-Myth, right, they break it down to 3 different traits. Yep. It's the true entrepreneur, the technician, and the manager is typically the same personality. The entrepreneur's got to embody all of that.
All of it.
And all of it. And when people they get into it. Well, I'm waking up at 4 a.m. I have to get to the bakery. I got to start baking pies. I got to clean up. I got to sell pies. I got to do the book. When you start incorporating all of that, you really have to think about the systems that go in place. And I guess that's a big part of what you're talking about too.
Yeah, it really is. That just reminded me of something. So I bought a 10,000 square foot building in Ohio. It had been vacant for a long time. I converted it, put apartment buildings upstairs, a doctor's office downstairs. And I'm telling you a story, not to brag, but I'm telling you this story. I put a coffee shop. I needed an anchor. I put a coffee shop downstairs. And so there's a lot that goes on inside a coffee shop. It's really upscale, very cool coffee shop. I'm in there one day, and Senator Bill Saxby is in there with Rocky Saxby, just incredible, phenomenal people. And I'm sweeping the floor. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I'm sweeping. I own the building. I own the damn building. I'm sweeping the floor. Yeah. And I walked back in, and I told my manager, I said, hey, I don't want to do this. Will you go out and clear that table? Because they were out there, right? And in the moment I said that, I realized, you know what? No. I said, Marge, it's okay. You know what? I'm going to do this. And I went out and I cleaned the floors. I swept it. I did the table, swept the floor, did the things that I needed to do. But it was in that moment I had to make a decision, man. Am I really in this deal as an entrepreneur, or do I just want to look the part, right? And it's that ability to say, I'll do whatever the hell I got to do. I'll just do it. It doesn't make me less of a person. In their eyes, they thought I was phenomenal, and in my eyes, I then realized I'm not too good for anything. Man, I'll sweep floors today. You can't be. You can't be. The reality is you won't be in business if you are, because we serve other people. Our value is contingent upon them moving the needle, right? And if we can't do that for them, and there's a lot of things that are dirty and ugly that are involved in moving that needle, And if we can't do that, we're not going to bring any value to them. And therefore, we're not going to be around very long. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, it does. It absolutely does.
Yeah.
And a lot of your equity allows you to coach on that, which is what we kind of started talking about in the beginning. But getting around to the subject that we wanted to talk about the other day when we were talking on the phone, we talked about, okay, what is it? What are some of the steps? If anybody's listening or watching, or even maybe have already taken the leap, what is it they're going to anticipate? I mean, is there in your experience, aside from the actual element of, there are going to be times where you're not going to like this at all because there's going to be 2 or 3, 4 o'clock in the mornings happening.
Yeah, a lot. There's going to be a lot. And there's going to be a lot for a while. So what they're going to anticipate and plan on expecting, it's not sexy, right? It's not sexy. It can be later in life if you play it right, if you build it on the right foundation. They're going to encompass everything. So here's a challenge that I see a lot. I coach a lot of companies, been around for a long time, but I do coach some startups. So everybody gets in business because they're good at something, and they get in business and they don't lay the groundwork. They don't lay the foundation. So they start in business, and guess what happens if you get a good coach and he teaches you how to pitch your services? You sell. And then things come in, and a lot of things come in. And all of a sudden, you really needed to divert your attention over here because you haven't taken care of those things. But guess what? You can't. Because now you're caught up in this river of just activity, and these foundations that are very critical, these foundations get neglected, and then you can't build, you can't scale, you can't bring other people on because you have no system. So I created an operational directive, and I think it's absolutely critical that you lay these foundations first. And if you've already started your business, just get in there, man. Get in there, figure out what you're looking for, not only in clients, but also what you're looking for as you scale out. The people. If you don't know what it is you really want out of another individual, you'll never find that. You'll never attract them because you'll pass them, or you just won't attract them because you have no idea really what they are, who they are, what value they're going to bring to you. So what are they going to experience? Man, they're going to experience chaos, confusion, right? They're going to experience all those things, the headaches, the late nights. I don't care what business it is. If you're, and you know this because you do this, if you're pushing your business out, stuff comes in, right? It comes in, and that means you've got to deal with it. And if you're not dealing with it, you're not going to grow your business. So you're going to do a lot of things that you don't want to do, and that's just the reality, man. It's the dishes, it's sweeping the floor, it's late night, it's working on cars, whatever your deal is. You're going to do all those parts, and that's what you need to be prepared for. It's not sexy, it can be later, but it's functional. It makes it work. It allows you to build, and then that's the truth that people need to know. Right now, everybody, it's really cool. The buzzword is entrepreneurial. Man, I've been an entrepreneur so long. I mean, I'm 54 years old. I've been in this deal a long, long time. A lot of businesses. It wasn't sexy back in the day. It was like, what the hell are you doing? You got a great job. Why are you leaving that job, right? I mean, they got insurance or paying insurance. You're not going to have any insurance. Hell no, I didn't have insurance. I didn't have insurance for a long time. So that's what you're going to expect, right? Because you're not grouping yourself in a great insurance package because you got 50 employees. You're one person. You're a solopreneur.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of challenges that you face. Just be prepared for all of them. But to your point, man, get mentored. Find people that resonate with your belief system. That's what I would tell you. There's a lot of guys out there, and they're all good. They're all really good at what they do. But the reality is, man, you got to find somebody that you believe in, that you would like to emulate, right? Like their lifestyle. I want work balance. I want life. These guys talk about no work balance, man. My life is my work. Bullshit, man. If you do that deal, you're not going to have a family. Your kids are going to grow up and not going to know you. Oh, you might have money, you might have a successful business. But all these things, they take time. They take effort on your part. And that's the commitment you've got to realize. Everything is an exchange of time and energy. Everything. And you have to value, is the outcome worth the time and the energy, either away from my family, my money, my time, my energy, for the outcome? And I think that's one of the biggest challenges entrepreneurs face today.
I think so. I think the first two steps for anybody considering this or getting into it, they're getting their feet wet. Maybe they haven't crapped their first diaper yet. Is to obviously understand that it's not going to be sexy. At one time the word entrepreneur conjured up guys living in their mother's basement. Okay, I'm an entrepreneur,
and you might.
Yeah.
That's the reality, man. You don't sell something, you might be in the basement, and that's okay. That's okay. If your vision, if what you want to accomplish is so passionate inside you, you'll live in the basement, right? You won't be snapping photos.
Yeah.
You want laundry going over here. Mom, you're in my photo shot, right? But if your passion is big enough and that's really what you're called to do and you know it, you'll live in the basement. Hell, I'll live in a garage. I don't care. Right? If you've got a message, you've got something you've got to get out. If you'll do that, that's the business you should be in.
And that's the thing, is that understanding, if you are willing to do that for, 5 years. It could take 5 years.
Yeah.
Right now, everything, and the other thing I tell people all the time is like, if you're having trouble making money now, God forbid when the economy turns, man, that's going to get even tougher. So basically we discussed setting up the understanding and the expectations of what it's going to be like, finding a mentor. But obviously a lot of people, we talk about the belief system. Okay. What is your why? And then start, because a lot of what you're doing, if you're going to build a business, you're going to have to build a culture at some point. And hopefully it's going to be a culture that nurtures the business and everybody inside of it, which means CEO typically means you're in charge of HR.
Mm-hmm. You are, especially in the beginning. So, and if you don't identify to your point, man, you're spot on. If you don't identify your tribe and what you want that to look like, you'll just attract a hodgepodge of everyone, and everyone's going to be going in different directions. So one of the things in the operational directive is, man, identify how do you want your company seen? How do you want your company breathing day in, day out, right? Because that's really important that you lay those foundations. If you don't, it's just going to be osmosis, man. You're going to end up where you end up.
If anything, what you don't want to learn, this is what I would say to somebody considering it. You don't want the business to run you. Yeah. Eventually, you don't want it to be a prison that because then you left a job to get into yet another job. Your business now just becomes your job, and now you're in charge of everything.
Yeah, exactly right.
And that's kind of what that I've experienced that myself, understanding that at some point you may have to hire help, and even when you do that, you bring on a Girl Friday or something like that. That just understands your business. You got to understand that if they leave, that's problematic.
It's back to you.
Yeah.
So that's where culture comes in, right? That's where establishing your culture, identifying who you really are in yourself. What's my belief system? What do I believe? And then setting that up, and then attracting the right people. The people that believe the same thing, not that everybody's got to believe, but people that at least on a core level, man, they know what you want to accomplish, and they're buying in. And if they buy in, they'll stick with you. In my real estate business, Jen's been with me, my God, man, 17 years. Yeah. I just don't lose people. My contractors that rehabbed all my properties for me, they were with me for 11 years. I don't lose people, but you treat people, hopefully, the way you want to be treated, and you treat them with respect and dignity. I don't care what position they're in, but you treat them that way. Karma will feed you, or karma will starve you to death. That's the reality.
Let me ask you this. With some people's expectations of their employees, should their expectations be the same level of output that you have?
No, of course not. You know that. No, why would they? Right? We would love it. That would be great, man. But it's not going to happen. But yeah, find somebody with our passion, our drive, our energy, and then pay them $22 an hour. Mm-hmm. It's not going to happen, right? You should expect so I believe there should be expectations initially, right? This is the direct operational directive, expectations with accountability. And I believe finding the right person inside your company, but then extracting from them, man, what else are you good at? You're rocking it here at the front desk, but man, where are you passionate? Jen, where are you passionate at today? What would you really like to do? What else are you good at that you could help us grow out this company? Mm-hmm. Right? Yeah. So we can't expect them to they're not going to be up at 2:00 in the morning, man. This is our baby. I'm up till 2:30 last night. Right. And because I had a big day. So here's the other thing, man. Guys, you want to be an entrepreneur? You better plan out your day. You've got to plan out your day. If you don't, you're going to get caught up in all the activity, right? Because people pulling you. And like Jimbo said, man, in the beginning, you're going to say yes to everything because you got bills to pay. That's reality.
But you learn on you kind of learn on the fly.
You do. But you do. Well, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I've had the unfair advantage of, I talk about my father and growing up in a entrepreneurial household with him running things. And I've had the benefit of seeing both sides of it. My father always said, well, if you want to work for yourself, there are pros and cons. If you want to work for somebody else, there are pros and cons. Yeah. He says the benefit of me working for myself, and mind you, he built a business in the roaring 80s, okay? Back when everything was, you could hang a shingle and make $1 million. It wasn't a problem, okay? But everything turned around the 1991, 1990 area. And I tell the story. I did it with Matt Monero when I had him on, and he loved the story. I said he actually told a story that inspired me to do a video about my dad. But there was a point where we had to fold the business up from the headquarters we had in Elmsford, New York, and bring it into the house. I was all of 14 years old at that point, and learning this harsh reality of a recession, an economic recession, and how my father at age 50 some odd, he was 50 some odd years old. He had to go back to driving the truck, pulling the wire, climbing the ladders.
Yep.
Putting in the phone systems.
But he did it, didn't he?
He had to. He had no choice.
Yeah.
You had to
See,
do
that's
it.
the difference. Yeah, that's the difference between having a employee mindset and a business owner. Mm-hmm. Entrepreneurs, you're a business owner, and that comes with a myriad of responsibilities. And sometimes it is humbling to have to do some of the things that you did 5, 10, 15 years ago. But that's just the deal. And you hope it doesn't happen. So you hope you create a tribe of people, and you hope that you've got a system every day to push your services, your products out to the community, and you have enough business coming in. But I lived through the depression. Dear God, man, I just looked that old. I lived through the recession. So Jimmy Carter, Ronald Reagan, the thing that Reagan did was he inspired us again, right? He absolutely inspired us to believe in America again. But I lived through it. Those were tough times, man. We lost a house. My parents lost a home. We built a brand new home. They lost the home. Consequently, like 5 years later, and then we're into rental properties. We had a beautiful home. My stepdad built a gorgeous home. We lost it, right? He was self-employed entrepreneur. Mm-hmm. So those are the challenges. He built his business back up, but those are the challenges, and it happens.
The good thing is that when you're entrepreneurial, you think in the mindset, and this is, I think, for everybody to start thinking, no matter who you are. Start thinking in multiple streams of income, multiple opportunities, because even when you're working for somebody, it doesn't guarantee an income, and when I 08, the big downturn, I was working for somebody. I was at my last radio job, the last radio job I had. And, the company was solvent, and they were financially smart over the years. They were a multi-generational family. They had a pile of cash put away to weather that storm. And I think we took like a 5% pay cut very temporarily while other people were doing furloughs and layoffs. Our company, I was fortunate enough not to have to bear that that burden of getting laid off or fired or anything. So, I was able to weather that storm working for somebody else. But man, when you start thinking in multiple streams, multiple opportunity income, that really will help you weather those storms. Matt Monero and I kind of disagreed. He says, well, I think if you double down and you focus on one thing, that's when you can really start stacking and racking cash. And I'm going, well, I understand where he's coming from. And we talked about the employee that he had that basically asked for better opportunities and what can I do? How can I better myself? How can I add to my income? And he as a Matt Monero, as an entrepreneur and a business owner, understood that mentality of what this employee was trying to do and accommodated him because he provided the value. He sold it. I don't think that's a common case out there, in corporate America, where
I would agree. I love Matt, and he's spot on. I know. Love Matt, spot on. Double down, build that business. But man, I'm of the mindset: if you don't have residual income, you're missing the boat. It's just so critically important. I bought storage unit, I bought apartment buildings, I bought single family homes. anything that I could buy that threw off additional streams of revenue that I didn't have to put my time into, right? I took apartment buildings that I owned, took 2 bedrooms, made a 2-bedroom apartment, converted it, put washer and dryer facilities in there. That paid for my Harley, man. I mean, that made my Harley payment. But the reality is times get bad and you've got additional. Is there opportunity for loss? Sure. But there's opportunity for loss everywhere. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Chris Hotze. I don't know. Do you know Chris Hotze? Great guy. He's got a new. Okay. He's got a great guy. He's got a new book coming out September 27th. Mailbox money. Man, it's all about residual income. It's all about building out and growing that stability from there is stability in that. There's value in that. But again, it goes back to this. It's that mind shift, right? Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. From employee to entrepreneur. And you just have to, thankfully you work for somebody that was smart enough to have done those things and you weathered a storm. Yeah. A lot of people in the 80s did not weather that storm very well.
Oh no. Honestly, my father being one of them. I mean, he had to let everybody go and cut everybody loose. And it was just him for a while. Then my brother and I kind of helped out as my teenage years were spent coming home from school and answering phones. And, having to hold down the fort while he was out doing service calls and just figuring out how to. I mean, I remember one day we were building out the office in the basement and in our house. And I looked down at him. I said, hey, I was putting up a light fixture of all things. And he goes, I said, why don't we get a pizza? And he goes, we can't. And I said, no, okay, well, why not? He said, we can't afford it. Oh, wow. Yeah. That's hard to hear when you're 15, man. Yeah. So that
but
really
good for your dad. Good for your dad though. I mean, you can't afford it. Today we can't afford it. What do? We put on a damn charge card. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
There's an element to that.
It's ridiculous.
Too. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just ridiculous. But, the other thing too is, man, I always look at the long game, Jim. Mm-hmm. I'm always looking at the long game, right? And I think as an entrepreneur, that's critically important. Man, now is now. We got to take care of business. I get that. But I'm structuring out what I'm doing so that it's scalable, so that 10 years from now, 20 years from now, 30 years from now, there's still growth, there's still stability, there's still income. My family, my legacy, all of that is protected. And I think that's one of the things that we don't do enough of, we don't hear enough preached on, but it's so valuable. And if you start that from the very beginning as an entrepreneur, you look at things completely different. That's what I found in all that I've done. Man, I used to go after the money. I still do that, but I go after value now, man. How can I add value that'll sustain my people and will sustain me down the road? So I'm always looking at the long game. And
it's helping, giving without any expectation in return.
Oh, I love it, man. You follow Gary Vee?
Absolutely.
Oh my God, love him. So when I first started listening to Gary Vee, I didn't like him. Obnoxious. I'm like, oh man, guy drops the F-bomb all the time. Didn't like that. But the more I listened to him, guy's brilliant.
He is.
And you know why he's brilliant? Because he doesn't care. He just doesn't care. Right. He doesn't have an agenda. He's not selling something. We're all selling something. I get it. But he's not selling. He's just giving away all the stuff that the guys like me are charging for. But I do a little different than that. But man, when you get there and you're just adding value over and over and over without expectation, to your point, man, that's where you start building a tribe. Mm-hmm. That's where you start building followers that are listening to you because they like you. They like your content and they found value in you. That's just so cool.
And it's, and again, he was a big part of the dichotomy. I'm thinking diametrically opposed. That's the word, diametrically opposed. People that I listened to in the beginning. And I got introduced to Gary Vee in 2015. And again, once I saw his first video, I was like, oh my gosh, I get him. I totally get him. Cardone I knew of from the car business and didn't hear too much from him in 2013, 14, and 15. He really started ramping up in 16 and 17 and hockey sticking from there. But they're so different minded. Cardone is 60.
Completely.
Cardone is 60, and he believes that, Gary Vee is teaching people how to be poor and stay poor. And he's unashamed in saying that. It's not like I'm saying anything that's not common.
No. Love both of them, and they have both added incredible value to the entrepreneurial system. Mm-hmm. No doubt about it, man. Cardone, rock star, but he's got 35 years of actually doing it, right? Mm-hmm. That backs it up. I mean, this is not somebody who was doing, teaching or something a few years ago. Now they're a coach.
Right.
This is somebody who's actually got 35 years in there. And now what? I'm being good, brother. I'm being good.
I know.
So, but this is somebody that's actually, he's paid the price, man. He's taken the hard hits.
Yeah.
And he's stayed the course. Huge respect for him, man. For both of those guys. Different message, huge respect for both of them. I get it.
And it's funny because I always talk about the pendulum. You've heard me bring up the pendulum theory, written by Roy H. Williams and Michael Drew. I think there's an audience. We're approaching in 2023 the zenith of an upswing of the we side of the pendulum, heading back. Now we're going to start. It'll start being pulled down towards a tipping point towards a me side, which is
I agree.
So I believe in what Grant is saying, and I understand what he's saying, but I think there's more legacy validity in what Vaynerchuk talks about, because that's what really resonates in this day and age is value giving, not, look at the jet, look at, all the things that I'm buying. He is not about that at all. He's about,
at all.
Vaynerchuk is.
But it's a different philosophy, and they're both good. Look, we have to sell. Mm-hmm. And one thing that Cardone does, man, he teaches you how to sell. He teaches you how to get into it, 10x it, and man, he's done a phenomenal job, but he's got experience. He knows how to do that. Yeah. And that has to happen in your business. You better know how to sell. You better know how to pitch your services to another individual in such a way that they go, shit. Right, I want a meeting with you. What do we got to do?
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. That's what you better be able to do, because that opens every door of opportunity for you. But at the same time, you got to give, man. You add value. So I can apply both, and I think I really do successfully. I apply both belief systems. I do try to add value all the time, because that's a bigger picture. That's a longer game. But short game is I've got to drive revenue. If I can't help my clients go from here to here really fast, and that means money. That's all we want. We want money. We want attention. We want revenue so we can fix the world's problems. If I can't help them do that, I'm not going to be around. I'm not going to be able to pay the bills. I'll be living in my mama's basement.
Well, I mean, a lot of people the biggest messages we constantly hear from some of these guys is go out and do more, sell more, sell more, sell more. Okay, you go out and do that. Like in our case for Big Dot, we can go out and sell more, but there's a fulfillment angle on that. Meaning we can deploy sales teams all over the country, but then you have to, bring on project managers, because this isn't just hey, we're going to flip a switch and give you the product.
That's right. Exactly.
We're doing a project right now that's 3 months. And we're just getting to the goal line probably this week. 3 months we've been doing this.
Yeah.
So there's sales skills, but there's also business acumen that you have to realize. What kind of business is it?
So imagine, because this is what we coach a lot. People that really truly coach, get in their client's business and spend time and ask questions and coach. Man, we can bring on a sales team. We can blow up revenue. I'm good at that. Yeah. But what do we do next? Because that's going to change the dynamics of everything that you have going on now in your company, right? So you better have systems in place, processes in place to handle the new production, the hiring, all of that. So there's bigger components to it. Yeah. So it's a long game, man. And you've got to build something that's scalable, and you've got to do it in such a way that it can operate outside of you, right? Outside of you every day doing the hard stuff.
Mm-hmm. Long game or end game versus the commitment game. What's more important?
I don't think you can separate the two. I really don't, man. I think you've got to be committed, or you'll never make it to the long game, right?
True. I mean, it's.
I don't know. I don't know how to answer that. I don't think you can separate the two.
I hear a lot of people, a lot of self-made millionaires talk about, well, you got to have the end game in mind in terms of what's your exit strategy, and I never understood that. I'm like, well, if I love what I'm doing, why would I want to exit it? Honestly, and someone said, well, what is your goal? I go, well, I'd love to have, an 8-figure net worth at some point, probably by 2025 or so, 2030. Again, not a very specific goal, and I need to work on that. But honestly, I want to have the free time to be. I know a really good coach. I don't know if he'll take you on. He's pretty busy, but I know a good coach. I'm just gonna keep doing. I'll just keep doing podcasts with you, man.
Oh yeah, you're gonna extract all the information you need, brother. But I teach a concept: entrance strategy, exit strategy. Mm-hmm. And I feel like, man, if you don't know where you're coming in, you don't know your value, you don't know yourself, you don't know your skill set. That's your entrance. You've got to know those things. But then your exit strategy. Man, I can't imagine not doing what I do. I can't imagine not pouring into the lives of other people. I can't imagine not helping. But I know that it's going to happen. Man, this energy I have at 54, I'm not going to have that at 84. No. It's going to be like, it's not going to be there, right? I hope it is. So I need an exit strategy. But your exit strategy needs to be built with legacy in mind, right? I want to turn something over, man, that I'm proud of. I want, John Maxwell's done it right. Zig Ziglar did it right. Les Brown did it right. These guys, phenomenal. And they built with the end game in mind. I know Zig did. Yeah. Yeah. That's what I want to do.
The other thing that comes to mind is we always talk about the end game for Big Dot and stuff like that, and what Tim and I want to make out of it. On the other hand, I do the voiceover and content creation for a myriad of businesses. That to me, that's where I truly live, as you well know. And it's something that I can do into my 60s, my 70s, hopefully my 80s, because eventually we're all going to be Burt Reynolds, right? We're all going to be at some point.
For sure, man.
And we were talking about this morning, like at age 40, being at a networking event or talking business, and this happened to me a couple weeks ago. I had a younger girl come up to me and just talk to me for an hour. I mean, literally just kind of we just engaged, had a great conversation. Typically in those events, you got 5-10 minutes, you move on to the next person. But for whatever reason, she stuck around and talked to me for an hour. And I'm like,
It's that voice, man. It's that voice, brother. If I had your voice, oh my God.
It's not the face, man. I'll tell you that much. So,
whatever.
So she ended up, and I'm thinking to myself, yeah, I probably still got it. I'm 43, and as a man, you think those things. And I was saying, you think Burt Reynolds was saying that at like age 75, like looking in the mirror, going,
yeah, he was, and he's still using that one line. Honey, I only take this hat off for one thing. Yeah. Right? Yeah. He's looking for another Sally Fields, man.
How did we wander into talking about Burt Reynolds of all things? That's funny.
Because we're fun.
Tell me about some of the, you had a couple of, the failures are what really shape us. And I always say, you don't truly fail unless you quit. And obviously you didn't quit. You've been mostly an entrepreneur most of your professional adult life. There have been some offshoots where you worked for other people. But tell me about, what went through your mind when the failures did happen. What was the mental process and experience you went through? Tell the story.
Yeah, so real quick, I started my real estate company with a YZ250 dirt bike. I read a book called Building Wealth by Russ Whitney. I was working for a company at the time as a salesman, and I read this book, didn't even have money to buy the book. It's $10.95. But I charged it. I got permission from my practice wife, and she said, okay, right? Started building a business. And so I went through a lot of period. I did all the hard, nasty, ugly work in rehabbing houses and then apartment buildings and then businesses, all that. 2007 came, brother, I was unprepared for it. I had been coaching with Tony Robbins. I NLP certified, NAC certified, body language expert, built and lost businesses, but I had never experienced anything like this. I had no idea. I had no skill set to navigate that. And I had no one because I had isolated myself, right? Huge mistake. And what went through my mind, man, I'm going to die. I'm going to lose everything. My family's going to have to move out of this beautiful home that we bought. I mean, it's just like all the scary stuff comes through your mind. But at the same time, you want to persevere. You want to make it happen. You want to come through it. I didn't come through it well. I sucked. I wish I had a coach. I wish I knew the value at that time in my life of having a mentor, a coach. I didn't have that. So I did a horrible job coming through it, but I made it through it. And I was down too long. Here's the other thing, man. Be prepared. You're an entrepreneur. Be prepared to fail. Fail often, fail fast. Because it's going to happen. And that's where you're going to learn the most. as I went through that, I stayed down way too long, man. I was down. I beat myself up. Are we not our worst critics?
Yeah.
I mean, we beat the crap out of ourselves, man. And so I just stayed down. Too long. But fear kept me in a place of complacency for a long time. Now, fortunately, I had revenue coming in from some rental properties. I mean, I lost a bazillion, but I had some coming in. So the vice wasn't squeezed or squozen, whatever that word is, so tight that I had to pull myself out. But man, you can get down. You're going to fail. It's going to be a challenge. You're going to have struggles. You can get down. The challenges don't stay there. Just don't stay there. Find somebody to get you out. You took a chance, right? You took a chance because you believed in yourself. You believed in your own possibility. That possibility is still there. You just need some guidance. You need some help. You need someone to guide you through that process, help you avoid those pitfalls. And
understand that, and a lot of people, I look back on these types of periods in life, 3 to 5 year periods with, man, that's not very long. A lot of today's entrepreneurs we're seeing early 20s, mid 20s, maybe touching 30 and stuff.
Yeah.
They put CEO in their Instagram handle and profile. And 5 years to them is a lifetime. And a lot of people going into it, you got to realize 5 years eventually is going to go by like that.
Like that, man.
And that's about how long it takes to get the engine started on a business.
Yeah.
Not everything.
Exactly
happens.
Right.
And everybody's looking at businesses. What was I listening to recently? I think it was How I Built This, another podcast, great podcast. And it was the people who built Lyft. Okay, I believe.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they started in 2012, 2013. Same thing with Instagram. You look at it when they started.
Yeah.
It was a quick rise, really fast. That's not typical. Not typical
at all.
Yeah.
That's why you know of them. How many other companies started at the same time, started before, and they're gone? Or and guys, there's a lot of companies out there you don't even hear about, and they're making really good money. They're providing incredible services, and they're living their dream, but you don't hear about them. But very few have that star, that catalyst, that movement so quickly. It just doesn't happen.
But
the reality is, you're going to work really hard.
Yeah, but I mean, looking at what you've done over the past 30 some odd years, you're 54 years old. Put that into perspective. When you're 25 years old, taking a year, really play that out in your mind. Understand the time of that, how much time that is, and how long it took you to get there. I used to think and look at guys that were in their 40s and 50s who were, I perceived as successes and going, man, that would be really nice. I can't even begin to imagine.
Yeah, we all do
like that, But Cardone is hitting his prime right now. He's 60.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, and he's got 35 years of practicality, man,
right,
of working a system, getting better. Guys, it's skills.
Yep.
It's if you can sell, you can hire. If you can sell, you can hire people to be your CEO. You can hire accountants. You can hire communication director. You can hire HR. You can hire these things, but nothing happens unless you can sell.
Absolutely.
And that's just the reality. But so I teach, and I won't get on me, but I teach this thing very quickly. 3 C's, man: clarity, confidence, conviction. When you have those 3 things, you can pitch your products, your services to anyone. If you can do that successfully, you'll create business. Now you have the opportunity to expand, bring on other people who are good in areas you're not good in.
Well, sales has been given a black eye over the past, since I've been working.
Yeah.
That people just don't trust salespeople overall, but they don't realize, and this is something I teach my kids how to sell because it's not being taught in schools. It's one of the
at all.
It's atrocious. It should be. It's one of the most useful skills you will ever have. Ever. I mean, I've had.
Ever.
I was once again, Cardone actually put it into perspective. He said, everybody's a salesperson. It's the people who know they are the ones that are going to be successful.
That's exactly right.
Everybody's in sales.
Spot on.
Yeah.
Everyone.
Even
if you're trying to go ahead.
Even a person in a cubicle, you're selling.
Yeah. That's right. You want to go on vacation, you want to go to Hawaii, you want to go to I don't know, Cuba's open now. Let's go to Cuba.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to outsell the other person, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's inside the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Everything you're doing, man. If you're a CEO, you're selling your vision. You're selling your belief about the company and where you can take it. You're trying to get buy-in. That's what we're all trying to do.
I tell
it's just the people who practice it.
If you want to learn to sell, go sell cars for 2-3 years. One of the best business.
Yeah, absolutely. You know? I mean, you're going to learn. You're going to be face to face, right, with a lot of people all the time. You're going to figure out what works, or you're going to be gone.
Buying the second largest purchase they're going to make.
That's exactly right.
And it's getting constant practice on how to close, not only just how to sell, but and that was one of the biggest takeaways I had, because now I've taken that, and what I tell people all the time, I teach a sales process for creatives, and I said, look, this is a process that has worked for me. It's a simple, fundamental sales process, but what I want you to get out of it, and a lot of people don't, understand this, is your own sales voice. It's like voiceover. Eventually, you can emulate people all you want, but eventually you have to find your voice.
I agree. One of the things I had on here that I was gonna bring up is, man, know your skills. Know your skill set. Know the sandbox that you should play in, right? There's too many people that want to be coaches today. Hell, myself included, right? Mm-hmm. But everybody's a coach today. Not everybody should be a coach. Some people who are coaches should really be what they are, motivational speakers. Because that's all the hell they want to do. They want to come in, they want to rah-rah, but they don't want to, I'm not saying anybody, but they don't want to spend any time digging in, man. And that's this is a hard business. I spend a lot of time going over all this stuff, all my clients, because I want to provide. But see, that's my sandbox, man. That's where I should play. So really, just make sure what you've chose is really where you should be. And if it is, there's nothing in the world that'll stop you if you get skilled up.
And call it what it is.
Call what it is, man. And be okay with that. Hey, we need motivational speakers. We need keynote speakers. We need coaches. We need trainers. I mean, these are all important, but just be real with who you are and what you really are.
Well, a coach truly gets in the weeds with you in your business.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And hold you accountable. Right? Mm-hmm. Hold you accountable. So I don't let my people off the hook. Here's the reality, man. I'm going to make a commitment for 90 days. And that commitment is I'm going to provide for you what you need, what we look at and identify you need to take your business, your whatever it is, your skill set, your business to the next level. But after 90 days, we're going to look, man, if you're not committed, we're done. Because I don't have time. And I'll maybe help you find, if I like you, I'll help you find another coach. But man, we're done. You've got to be committed. It goes back to that commitment that you were talking about before. In your business, you've got to be committed, man. You've got to know that I'm willing to do whatever it takes, ethically, morally, to be successful. I'm willing to pay that price. I'll sweep the floor, right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
And that's really what these guys and gals need to know, man. All this flashy stuff looks great, but the bottom line is, man, there's weeds. Right? And you can say there's no weeds. I'm all about law of attraction, but you can say there's no weeds, but the weeds will take over your garden if you don't pull them out. So you gotta make sure that you're taking care of all and everything in your industry and your business.
I'm finding to the point. I heard one of the best pieces of advice. One of the better, I should say, was that when you're able to hire an assistant, pull the trigger.
Yeah, you're right. Spot on.
And a lot of people, a friend of mine who's an electrician, he was having a conversation with another friend of mine, and she actually said, well, you need to have somebody to actually handle all this stuff for you. And she asked me, hey, do you know anybody? Well, just so I do, and pass the information on. He hooked up with her, and he's like, he loves her. He's like, I don't know what I would. Why didn't I do this 10 years ago? That's probably, I would say that's probably one of the biggest. So the takeaways I would say is understand what it is you're getting into, fully. That
up front, man.
Right. Are you going to be committed to do what it takes? Find the right mentor who's going to, who embodies what you want to be. And hopefully they're willing to take care, and also when the time is right, you got to bring help on. You got to and understand that, every time you book a job or, money comes in doesn't mean a raise for you.
A raise.
Right.
How about a damn salary, man?
Right.
Right.
Okay. Or an owner's draw, however you're going to take it.
Yeah. Right.
You know, this big project that we're wrapping up, we thought, man, we're going to take these huge owner's draws. And now we kind of looked at the business over time, and thankfully we did. No, we're going to put the money back into the business.
Yeah.
You know, that's a sacrifice.
See, it's called maturity, though.
Yeah.
It's sacrifice.
But
it's maturity. It's so you have a coach. Yeah. You've been coached. Or you've just experienced in life.
Life.
Life. So the amateur takes the draw, spins it, buys all the flashy stuff. Dude, I drive a 2013 Ford. I can drive whatever I want. I don't care. Right? Because what I'm doing is what I coach. I'm putting it back in my business. I'm trying to get more attention. I'm getting out there in front of people. I'm adding value, right? Think of the studio you could be in. It's a choice you make.
It's just fine.
Hell yeah, it's fine. It's perfect. Yeah. It's perfect.
You know, what I produce for Cardone in here is good enough.
That's exactly right, man. If it's good enough for Cardone, man, it's good enough for everybody, right?
I will say this, because I sold Mercedes, I do, you know, and when I did sell Mercedes, there was, oddly enough, there was no way in hell I was going to be able to afford one working there.
Not funny.
You know, however that dealership worked. So I ended up, you know, that's one of the things I want. I want to get that out of my system. You know, I got to.
Dude, nothing wrong with any of that, man.
Right. And it's
just. Yeah, well, and it's just, but you're not neglecting the growth of your business next year, so you can drive this fancy car today, right?
Well, it's also finding the job or investment or something that pays that bill.
Sure, that's it. You know? I bought my Harley, and it was paid for by me putting 4 coin-operated laundry facilities. I'm telling you, taking a 2-unit apartment building, converting it to 2 1-units, and taking that and putting 2 washers, 2 dryers, coin operated, $1.25 each. Paid my Harley payment.
That's what Brad Lee said. He said, I wanted to buy a Ferrari, so I had to find another investment and put money into that investment that cash flowed me the Ferrari
Spot on, man.
A month.
Yeah. You know what I learned from Brad Lee? He came in and talked to us when I was with another company. And man, you've got to train.
Yeah.
You've got to train. So we thought we were training. We weren't training. You've got to train every day. You've got to have a system of getting better every day. I spot on to that guy, man. I'm a big fan of Brad Lee.
He's good stuff. And it's funny because he's very real, you know, and it's funny when I first got introduced to him, it was through Cardone, because Cardone always.
And he's a damn pretty, man. He's just a pretty dude.
He is. He's a rock star. He's also an aspiring actor.
Yeah, pretty cool. Good for him, man. Pretty cool.
He's got the great voice. I told him when I was interviewing, I said, you sound like Charles Grodin. You don't look like him, but you sound like him. Same kind of cadence to his voice and everything. Not a bad thing. But he he's very real. He doesn't pull any punches, and comes across completely authentic, to the point where he admits his own faults in his own company. He says, "I don't know what kind of culture I have." He says, "It's either good, bad, or neutral." You know, he says, he'll admit, "I don't know how to build a culture. I don't know."
Yeah.
You know,
interesting.
And, I honestly wasn't a big fan of his when I first discovered him, and then he really does look out for you. You know, I got his attention by doing his podcast intro, and he sent me a lot of business since then. I mean, I think he's a believer in me and what I do, and I've become a major fan of his ever since.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's a good guy. Good guy, and again, somebody else that's willing to pay the price.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy started with nothing, right? Knocking on corporate doors, right? Nothing.
What other people don't know about him? I think he said on my pod when I had him on, 15 years he made $3,000 a month.
$36,000 a year, man. Who's willing to do that? Are you willing to do that? If you're willing to do that, your vision is big enough, right?
Yeah. You gotta really love working for you and going out and pounding the pavement for a long time, and eating crap.
And eating crap.
You know.
And it's okay. Look where he's at today. Guy runs a phenomenal company, and his culture is good, man. I have a lot of his people that follow me on Instagram. I tell you, man, great culture. They love him. They absolutely love him. They will be carried out on their shield for that guy. That's huge. That's huge.
Cardone, the same thing. When I went down there, we experienced that. And then
spot on, man.
What a great culture. I was really surprised by that.
Yeah.
And honestly, and I tell this story on another podcast, when we were down there shooting this other podcast that I produced for Rich Redmond, the drummer for Aldine.
Cool cat as well, man.
Awesome guy.
Cool cat.
You know, we were down there. We went to they had us down there and treated us like royalty. Rich went around signing autographs, taking pictures. I set up everything. They allowed us to use their studio.
Wow.
You know, Cardone came in. We all, you know, took pictures and everything. We did the podcast. My wife was actually helping me with sound, oddly enough, because she tagged along, so she was in there. And at the end, he kind of got a little bit blue on us. He said some really, it was hilarious, but really it was kind of blue humor and, you know, somewhat inappropriate.
I don't know what blue is. You know, what's blue humor? Is that sketchy?
Risque, you know, just, you know, he started making references that were like in relation to fellatio and stuff like that. But it was, you know, saying blowjobs. Essentially.
Yeah, I get you. Yeah.
But it was hilarious at the time. You couldn't help but laugh. That's just him. But as soon as we finished the broadcast, he rushes over to my wife and he goes, "I'm so sorry. I didn't, you know, I don't want, if I offended you, it just kind of came out." And my wife's like, "Dude, you're good, man. Trust me. I've been around worse."
Yeah.
Like beelined over to her. And I was going, that's character right there.
That's classy.
Yeah.
That's classy.
I thought it was.
Yeah.
I thought it was. Yeah. But hey, man, how you doing on time? You got to run?
We're spot on it, man. Okay. So go ahead. I got a few more minutes, but yeah, we're good.
Well, we can wrap it up, man. Tell me about, being that we marinate our mind in good stuff. What are some of the things you're marinating your mind in these days to grow? So man, really, for me right now, it's all about really giving back. So spending a lot of time. Just read Crushed It. Chris Voss. You know, I'm back in that for the third time. Just really, if you haven't read Never Split the Difference, incredible book. Top FBI negotiator, terrorist negotiator, just phenomenal guy. So, you know, just really trying to stay focused. You know, I tell you one thing I'm doing that's changed a lot. So I've lost 44 pounds. Good for you.
I'm not working 18-hour days anymore, which that's how I got so heavy, right? Mm-hmm. Being committed to something. So I'm a little more scaled. I'm working 16-hour days, but I'm exercising. So I'm down. Down a lot of weight, but I'm meditating. So I started meditating almost 3 months ago now. Yeah, never a big fan. Didn't know much about. Well, I wasn't a big fan. I didn't know anything about it. Come on, man. I'm a poor kid. We didn't grow up with meditation, but it's so good. I mean, I'm really spending time. I'm getting clarity, man. I've always been that person that's been pretty positive, high energy. You know, before it was ADD, it was just hyperactive. So I have to calm that down. And I find that meditation, man, it grounds me. So I spend a lot of time with my shoes off in the yard, man. I'm just pulling out all the negativity that comes in. I don't watch the news anymore. I haven't watched the news. Can't tell you the last time I watched the news, man, at all. Don't even care. Is Trump still president? See, I have no idea. Right? Because I can't fix it. I can't change it. Doesn't matter.
One of the things that I coach people on, and I guess you could say I'm not really coach, but you know, just we have conversations, and I hope I inspire them. That's one of the biggest shifts I made. I was in talk radio in Vegas.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I listened to Alex Jones from 08 to 12, and you know, got into the weeds on the New World Order and all that. It's like, God, it did nothing for me. And I know people that allowed Obama, allowed Trump, allowed all these people to take up space in their head rent-free.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
rent-free, brother.
These guys don't know who you are. They don't care about you, but you're thinking about them all day long. Yeah. And how's it working out for you? What are you getting out of this?
Yeah. Well, you know what you're getting out. You're getting out hypertension. You're getting out anxiety. Yeah, you're getting drama. I mean, you know, it's not a fair, everything, and I coach this, everything is an exchange of time and energy for outcome. Man, look at the outcome. Is it worth your time? Is it worth your energy? That's how I base everything. And I have an L1, L5 system. Man, if it deserves my attention, it's an L1. It's a value 1. L5, maybe I'll get to it later. Try to detox everything negative in my life. I surround myself with good people. I'm always looking to scale up. That's why we're hanging out, man. I'm always looking for the people that bring to me positivity and encouragement, right? And I can encourage and bring help. Maybe my skill, maybe my NLP, maybe my neurolinguistic programming can help them do something or fix something, but we're looking for that exchange. Good people, just good people, right? That's kind of what I'm marinating on now, is just being a better version of me. I screwed it up so many years.
You need to be doing this. You need to be hosting a podcast with your energy.
Really?
Absolutely.
Well, then I'll do it, man. Yeah. Give me that thing, man. Let's do it.
We'll make it happen.
Yeah.
Man, thanks for being on with me. I'll let you go.
Absolutely.
We got a lot of stuff happening this weekend. I hope if you're listening that you have a great weekend, because we typically record these things before they go live. But hey, if you're a fan of the JMVO Weekly Primer, please go to jimmccarthyvoiceovers.com/podcast. Follow me, subscribe to the podcast, pick your poison. We've got iTunes, Stitcher, Blueberry, and I think I got a few other different things that you can listen to. Of course, you can watch it if you want to watch us talking, but listening's
who wouldn't?
Right. Typically, if you follow me on Facebook, you'll be able to see when I go live with these podcasts, so you can actually chime in with comments and ask questions and everything. So please, and I probably should set up a Facebook page for this podcast so you can actually follow along. I got to get around to doing that.
Yeah, you should do that.
I should. I really should.
Yeah.
But man, thank you so much for being on with me today.
Absolutely.
And we got to go. Let's get lunch next week or something, or when next time you're.
I'm going to be. I'm actually going to be back in Nashville coaching. I'll be there Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and then I go to New Jersey. So I'll be in. Yeah, Jersey, and then I do all my Jersey. Hey, forget about it. What's going on? You guys want to sell something? Let's sell something. Hey, can I just throw out, if I can help anyone, if there's anything I can do for you, reach out to me. Yeah, I mean, just real simple, not selling anything, but if I can help you, let's make that happen. You can get me at coachbillmaddox@gmail.com. You can also follow me on Instagram at Coach William Maddox, William R. Maddox. So
I'll put all the information in the description section so you can actually follow along. But I encourage you to follow him, one of the best coaches out there, and truly gets in the weeds with your business. Thanks for being on with me, sir.
You got it, brother. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
This is the JMVO Weekly Primer. Please subscribe, rate, and comment via jimmccarthyvoiceovers.com /podcast.